Dead Rock Chapter 20 is out, and I'm not gonna lie, again, another good chapter for Dead Rock. I don't think we've really had any duds for Dead Rock since the beginning. Maybe one or two okay chapters, but we've been consistently on a good run lately, and we're going on 2 years of this manga, and I still don't really have any major complaints about this series. And I really do now have enough material for me to actually try and make some more separate videos on Dead Rock in between these chapters. And I know I keep saying this, but my god, I am going to really set myself in to a decent schedule to make Dead Rock content between chapters to keep the hype going. But yeah, we ended up getting the conclusion to the fight from the previous chapter. We got some new information, some great reveals that end up giving us potential for the growth of our main cast, and the reveal of a character we have not seen in many chapters. So we got a lot to cover in this month's chapter. Before we jump into things, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Now then, let's jump straight into chapter 20 of Dead Rock, Acnologia, with God being in the cover image with the Dead Rock school right behind him. But on with the chapter, we continue from the massive explosion and smoke screen that was created from the clash between Frey getting up from the brink of death with her burning arm to land a final blow against Laozen, crashing against his own ultimate move. And the smoke begins to clear with the anticipation and even shock of the audience as we see coming out from the smoke, Laozen still standing firm after getting hit with Frey's move. As everyone in Class F is starting to think, oh, Frey might have lost. But as the smoke continues to clear, we see Frey barely clinging on, just on her arm and leg, still conscious. She is beaten and battered, but she's still alive. She survived Laozen's ultimate attack, even to Laozen's shock. But Frey lets out a smirk as a tiny bit of fire appears around Laozen's head, and then he's engulfed in a massive stream of fire, shocking everybody as the flame continuously bursts forward and burns Laozen to a crisp. As Frey says, "I did it, big sis." As Frey is officially declared the winner, she pumps her fist into the air, shouting in victory, as she did the impossible and beat one of the 4 demon teachers all by herself. And this is honestly really, really cool. Now, I was kind of expecting Mashima to potentially kill off Frey. The signs were all there, but with what we got at the end of the previous chapter, with her getting another boost in strength, her badass burning arm made out of fire, the chances of her survival were 50-50. And I'm not gonna lie, I am happy that she survived. I don't want her characters getting killed off too frequently because you already had Hein. But again, some people will probably say that this is BS considering, you know, it's still relatively early in the series. But depending on how short Dead Rock is supposed to be in total, having our characters continuously grow throughout the series relatively to all the threats they faced makes sense. But we do get an explanation as to how Frey managed to overcome this in just a second. But I am glad that Frey survived, as she is one of my favorite characters in this series, and she had probably one of the most badass moments rivaling Yakuto's in this entire manga. But Lilith is in disbelief, thinking it's impossible to kill one of the 4 demon teachers. But God mentions something interesting. Origin root. Those who can use the power of the root's originator, Ifrit for example, which is Frey's, to the max. Those are known as origin roots. And I like this image of the beaten and bloodied Frey just having that really wholesome smile as she just managed to beat her mortal enemy. I freaking love it. Now, Lilith is saying that that sort of power is impossible, but God says it's born from a combination of strong emotion, innate ability, and the right sense. So Frey essentially had all of those with her. She had the innate ability to utilize it, and in the intense emotions, and seemingly the right environment to unlock it in that instance. Her being on the brink of death, having her feelings be burnt up to the maximum, and having that innate skill with her flames caused her to access or become an origin root user. And God smiles at this as he says, "Isn't it fascinating? More top students are always welcome." As he thinks, who knew the Black Dragon wasn't the only origin root? As he stares at Yakuto. Now this is another really cool revelation, because Frey being the first character to really, in real time, unlock their origin route and give us the explanation of what the origin route is honestly really cool because we don't have it be done by the main character. But Yakuto being revealed to also be an origin route makes sense with the high level of strength he has and could also explain his dragon transformations and his curse that is shortening his lifespan. Perhaps that curse might be an extension of his origin route, for all we know. And Yakuto's strength as the Black Dragon is due to his origin route, which is actually explains how strong Yakuto was at the start of this manga, which is really, really interesting. And God has a really interesting interest in Yakuto with his power and now Frey. So I'm curious to see where this is going to lead as he welcomes top-tier students in Dead Rock. So I'm curious to see where this will end up leading. Now, the students and bystanders are in shock that Frey, a first year, managed to be one of the strongest characters in this entire school. We then cut back to Class F as Ryzen is taking Frey in his arms to the infirmary to get her treated, as they wish Yakuto luck in his next match. As they carry Frey away, Yakuto says, "You were incredible." And as they walk away, Frey tells Yakuto, "You handle the rest, I'm out." As Yakuto says that he will. Now this most likely means that Frey is probably going to forfeit, as chances are she might not be strong enough or recovered enough to fight in the next match against Yakuto, which means Yakuto will end up, after his next match, make it straight to the finals to fight most likely Eiji now. So we won't get the Yakuto versus Frey fight, which I'm okay with, but it all depends on how things go. But with the build-up of Yakuto versus Eiji, I think this is a good way to get Frey out of this tournament without her needing to die. She's too injured to continue, most likely, so I'm okay with that. That is a good excuse not to have two of the main characters fight to the death in this tournament. So, good on Mashima for setting it up like this. But anyway, we move on to the next matchup for the semifinals, as everybody is excited and full of anticipation for this next fight. We then cut to the Dead Rock schoolhouse across from the stadium, as we see some punk students trying to break into a classroom. But when they walk in, they see Bebel, the character from the first chapter that had disappeared from the entrance exam, and we've only caught in 2 glimpses of throughout the entire manga. Not a word said by this character, and they've been shrouded in mystery this entire time. But Bebel is now here in this room encountering these delinquents, and they're wondering who he is and that he doesn't belong here. All Bebel says, his first words is, "I agree," and thinks, "Field day. I think it's stupid too, but whatever you were doing in this classroom, I won." As he then takes his extra arms out of his cloak, shocking the students as they realize that it is Bebel the Hekachair. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. But he then begins to remove his mask, saying, "This is my friend's class," revealing that his friend is Yakuto. And in a full 2-page spread, Bebel uses his multiple arms to completely eviscerate and take down all these delinquent students with ease, seemingly killing them in a flash. As all Bebel says is, "Yakuto, I want to see you again soon." So this is another interesting development. Bebel, a character that's been being built up to potentially be another ally or perhaps a obstacle with their disappearance at the beginning of the manga, is saying that he's Yakuto's friend. Now this could go one of a few different directions. One, he's Yakuto's personal rival and actually wants to kill him, considers him a friend, but like somebody he wants to kill. Maybe he has a grudge against him or wants to stand against Yakuto's goal. Two, he might end up being actually an ally for Yakuto and has been helping him train to get strong enough to enter Dead Rock. And maybe another possibility is option 2, but Bebel was the one that helped Yakuto achieve origin route, but perhaps also found the curse to absorb and dominate dragon power and absorb that into himself. That's where I'm getting with Bebel. Honestly, I could have said that for an entirely different video, but I just wanted to mention that here because my God, I am excited to see what's going to happen with Bebel. His design's so cool. Let me know in the comments, does he kind of look a bit like Loxus to you? If not Loxus, I'm not sure who else from Mashima's other works. It's definitely staring right in the face, but let me know who his design reminds you of. It seems very familiar. But we cut back to the arena for Field Day as we get the semifinal matchup, which ends up being Yakuto of Class 1F versus Setsuna of Class 1B. 2 powerful first years standing off for a semifinal match. Setsuna, after asking if Frey, the fire girl, was one of his classmates to Yakuto, she says, "I wish I could have fought her to see which of our flames are hotter." So it would have been interesting to see a firefight between a literal nine-tailed fox root character and the root of Ifrit. That would have been a really cool fight. That might be something that happens in the future. But Yakuto says, "It's a shame you missed out, because I am going to beat you." And the round begins. Yakuto saying that he can't lose, not until I beat God. Not until I kill the one who stole away my family, my friends, everybody. As he thinks back to his parents back during the flashback chapter of his origins. Yakuto dragonifies his right arm, saying, "So even though I've got nothing against you, I need to make you disappear." As he charges forth against Setsuna with his black dragon fist of obliteration, but Setsuna counters with her soul fire Fox Moon, as she manages to block Yakuto's punch as he tries to continue punching her again. But she manages to block and dodge, but Yakuto launches another destructive blow as this shows concern for Setsuna. Everyone's wondering what's going on with this fight, if she's evenly matched with Yakuto, but Yakuto lands a clean punch right on Setsuna, as Eiji realizes that Yakuto is better than her, as Setsuna is beginning to think about her goal, saying she can't lose now, thinking of the character that she talked about previously, Yuri, who seems to be perhaps another nine-tailed fox root, perhaps a friend or a family member, perhaps a younger sister. She then grabs Yakuto and brings him in close, as she says, "I gotta meet God," which shocks Yakuto. As she tells Yakuto, this is a secret. And in a 2-page spread, she tells Yakuto that she's gonna kill God. She has to kill him. As Yakuto sees that there's somebody else in this school that shares his goal. As in that sense, Setsuna then pushes him away, saying, "So if I lose to ya, I can't beat God." As Yakuto is just dead set now that there is somebody else who has his same goal. With the chapter continuing, Setsuna then launches an insane fire attack at Yakuto, burning him up, as everybody's wondering what the heck happened, because Yakuto essentially slowed down for a second to get hit. But Yakuto, not really fazed by it, says, "We shouldn't be killing each other. I gotta get her on my side," with a sinister grin on his face, as that ends the chapter. So much happened in this chapter. One, Frey won, and it's revealed that she is an origin root, and all the conditions were met for her to unleash the full power of her originator and the true flames of Ifrit. And for all we know, she has yet to master this ability, which means we could see her get even stronger in the future. Also, I really hope she keeps that firearm. It is badass, and I will not hear Mashima say otherwise. I want that flaming arm to stay. Next up, we have Bebel revealed in this chapter. He spoke and is potentially a friend or ally to Yakuto, so the real context we need is whether or not he's actually telling the truth, or he has some twisted delusion about his relationship with Yakuto, and he might be an enemy, or he could have been a contributor. We have no real idea, and that intrigues me so much because Bebel has been teased 3 times in this manga from the beginning and for 2 other chapters. So he definitely is going to play a major role in the story. And lastly, Setsuna's goal for meeting God is the same as Yakuto's. Presumably because this girl Yuri, potentially her younger sister, might have been killed by God, or in some manner, God is responsible for killing her sister. And so she has to kill him, which this is the first time Yakuto has encountered somebody other than Zelisha now who shares his same goal, which means we could potentially get a new ally. But here's the issue. This is a battle to the death. Unless this is a double knockout, or somehow, some way the fight's interrupted in a manner, or they could fake her death, Setsuna is gonna die here. And Yakuto can't really get her on his side. That's the issue. So there has to be some way for Yakuto to get her on her side and not kill her so he can advance to the next fight, so he can eventually meet God himself. So this is going to be an interesting fight to see. We're definitely going to get the conclusion of the fight in the next chapter, but it all really comes down to how this fight is going to end and what Setsuna is going to be used for in the future. Heck, she might end up being Hein's replacement for the main core cast for all we know. But yeah, a lot of revelations, a lot of stuff happened in this chapter. I am so excited for the future of Dead Rock, and I am definitely going to try and make more videos on this series because it is a shame, and especially shame on me for not talking more about this manga, because it is really, really good and more people should be reading it. But what did you guys think of this chapter? Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Now, with all that said and done, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope you all have an awesome day.